Moro National Liberation Front attacks and takes over 4 barangays in Zamboanga City. Among its demands to raise its flag at the Zamboanga City Hall. And Senator Miriam Santiago dubs the pork barrel scam EnrileGate.
Hello, I'm Ayi Makariig, sitting in for Maria Ressa. Welcome to Rappler, your social news network. At least 6 people are killed and 24 injured as members of the Moro National Liberation Front or MNLF take over 4 barangays in Zamboanga City early Monday. Police Senior Superintendent Wilben Mayor says at least 20 hostages are still being held by the armed men, while 200 civilians are stranded in Barangay Catalina. The 4 barangays affected are Santa Barbara, Santa Catalina, Rio Hondo, Mariki, and areas in Talon-Talon. Around 912 civilians have evacuated. The Zamboanga attacks come on the same week the government and the Moro Islamic Liberation Front are set to resume the final leg of their peace talks. The MILF is a breakaway group of the MNLF. The MNLF opposes the current Bangsamoro peace process. It also wants to reopen talks with the Aquino government because of the supposed failure of the 1996 peace agreement it signed with former President Fidel Ramos. A Mindanao Examiner report says the attack group is led by Javier Malik, a top aide of MNLF founder Nur Miswari. Police reports obtained by Rappler show one group launched attacks at the seashore of Barangay Mariki early Monday. A second group entered Barangay Catalina using a mosque in the harbor area. MNLF spokesperson Emmanuel Fontanilla says MNLF troops acted in self-defense after local cops allegedly conducted an uncoordinated law enforcement operation. Fontanilla says the MNLF was supposed to hold a peace rally in the city. The entire province of Basilan is on alert, with the governor imposing a curfew starting 8 p.m. Monday up to 4 a.m. Tuesday. Governor Jum Akbar says the alert is based on intelligence reports that Basilan is the next target of the MNLF forces. MNLF Deputy Commander Salid Ismael declares 2 demands for the government. First, they want to be allowed to walk with their hostages to the Zamboanga City Hall, raise their flag, and denounce the planned Bangsamoro independence of the MILF. Second, they ask government forces not to fire at them and let them keep their hostages. Zamboanga City Mayor Beng Climaco rejects the demands. Malacanang condemns the attack on Zamboanga City by suspected MNLF members, with presidential spokesperson Edwin Lacherde saying reports of civilians being used as human shields are a cause for great concern.
Upon the direction of the President, the Secretary of the Interior and Local Government, the Secretary of National Defense, and the AFP Chief of Staff have been sent to Zamboanga City, where they will further ensure that the President's directives are carried out. Well, number one, we want to make sure that the civilian population is protected. I am speaking in general terms. There are specific measures that the President has given out directives, which I am not at liberty to disclose right now.
He says President Benigno Aquino is being briefed on the situation. Senators also urged the government to quickly resolve the crisis. In a statement, Senator Coco Pimentel calls for government action to ensure the peace process is not derailed. Senator Sonny Trillanes says the siege shows the government's peace talks with the MILF was not inclusive. Trillanes adds the government peace panel should do something about this before another group rises to express its opposition to the peace framework agreement. The MNLF wants the Indonesian embassy to intervene in the ongoing encounter in Zamboanga City and urges the Indonesian government to activate the Organization of Islamic Cooperation's ceasefire committee. The group warns the conflict could reach as far as Sabah if not addressed soon. Indonesia is the chair of the OIC Peace Committee for Southern Philippines, which brokered the talks between the government and the MNLF. It was the third-party facilitator of the tripartite review on the 1996 peace agreement. MNLF spokesman Emmanuel Fontanilla says, "No one in Mindanao wants conflict. The conflict can be put to rest, and we hope that the Indonesian embassy could act on this matter. Malaysia tightened security in Sabah, particularly along its sea borders with the Philippines, because of the ongoing crisis in Zamboanga City. The Star newspaper reports the Eastern Sabah Security Command, or ESCOM, is monitoring developments in the city. The Star also quotes ESCOM Director General Datuk Muhammad as saying, "We have informed our security and defense officials to be on the alert." ESCOM is also coordinating with the security forces following the incident. Malaysian authorities fear the rebels might flee to Sabah. In February, around 80 to 100 followers of Sulu Sultan Jamalul Kiram III attempted to reclaim Sabah. The ESCOM was formed in April as a result of the incident. The Armed Forces of the Philippines says it monitored the entry of MNLF members in Zamboanga City 3 days ago, but could not prevent them because they were unarmed. AFP Public Affairs Chief Lieutenant Colonel Ramon Zagala says they learned about a planned mass action in Zamboanga, but noted that the group held similar moves in Davao that were peaceful. He says, "We monitored the entry of unarmed MNLF. We cannot prevent them. Yesterday, they were armed. That's why we were able to set up the lines." Zagala says the arrest of MNLF troops carrying high-caliber firearms Sunday night prompted government response. The Zamboanga attacks come as the government and rebel group MNLF prepare for what they hope would be their final meeting in Kuala Lumpur as they resume negotiations on the Bangsamoro Framework Agreement. The peace panels of both sides will hold talks for at least 10 days in a bid to arrive at a deal on power sharing and normalization. Both sides already signed the contentious Wealth Sharing Annex, which gave the Bangsamoro 75% of revenues from taxes and metallic minerals. Government Chief Negotiator Miriam Coronel Ferrer says the annex on power sharing will identify the shared powers between the Bangsamoro region and central government and what would be the exclusive powers of the Bangsamoro. The normalization annex involves the decommissioning of the MNLF and other armed groups. As the MNLF and the government draw closer to a final peace pact, this month also marks the 17th year since the signing of the 1996 peace agreement with the MNLF. Senator Miriam Defensor Santiago says immediate suspension awaits her colleagues involved in the pork barrel scam once prosecutors file a plunder case against them in court. Santiago says the 1991 Anti-Plunder Act provides that any public officer facing criminal prosecution in court shall be suspended from office.
Iba pala ito, Anti-Plunder Act. Pagkasampa ng kaso galing sa fiscal, papunta pa lang sa korte, pag oras na sinampa pa lang sa korte, suspendido na ang senador at congressman. That will be a glorious day.
Santiago also slams Senate Minority Leader Juan Ponce Enrile and names the multi-billion peso scam after him.
Justice denied. Let justice be done, though the heavens fall, or in today's words, even if the whole world perishes. The scandal will be one of the most blood-curdling crimes in Philippine political history. It should be known as EnrileGate.
Other senators tagged in the scam are Bong Revilla, Jinggoy Estrada, Gringo Honasan, and former Senator Edgardo Angara. Lawmakers allegedly allowed their development funds to be channeled to fake NGOs in exchange for kickbacks. She's known for her pickup lines, but this time Senator Santiago directs her anger and her humor on the pork barrel scam. In a speech at the National Student Conference on Hotel and Restaurant Management, the senator draws laughter from the audience with her pork barrel punchlines.
Anong tawag kapag nagtapon ka ng basura sa dagat? Sagot, pollution. Ano naman ang tawag kapag tinapon mo sa dagat ang mga politikong kurakot? Sagot, solution. Kapag nagsinungaling ka sa congressman o sa senador, kakasuhan ka na ng perjury, ay jail term ka pa. Perjury is telling a lie under oath. Pero kapag ang congressman o senador nagsinungaling sa iyo, ginagawa lang nila ang trabaho nila, magkakaroon pa sila ng bagong term. How to tell if a politician is telling the truth? Whenever he's crossing his arms like this, he might be telling the truth. Whenever he's stroking his chin like this, he might be telling the truth. Whenever he looks at you straight in the eyes, he might be telling the truth. But when he opens his mouth, he is lying. There was a study on the connection between government employees and the sport they play. Ang paboritong sport daw ng mga entry-level na government employees ay basketball. Entry-level, meaning to say they start at the bottom. Kapag lower management position na, paborito daw nila ay bowling. Kapag upper management naman, paborito daw nila ay tennis. Ang paborito daw na sport ng mga high-level government officials is golf. The study then made this conclusion. Kapag tumataas ang posisyon mo sa gobyerno, lumiliit ang balls mo. May tatlong doktor, pinag-usapan kung anong pasyente ang pinakamadaling operahan. Sabi ng una, electricians, everything inside them is color-coded. Sabi ng pangalawang doktor, librarians, everything inside them is in alphabetical order. Sabi ng pangatlo, politiko ang pinakamadali. They have no brains, they have no guts, they have no hearts, and they have no balls. Top 3 na pinakasinungaling na trabaho sa Pilipinas. I will start with number 3 and then 2 and 1. Number 3, beautician. Sasabihin nilang maganda ang customer kahit hindi naman talaga. Number 2, konduktor ng jeep. Sasabihin niya na dalawa pa ang kasya, kahit puno na. And last, and the most prolific of all these liars, number 1, politico. That's the end of the story.
Classic Senator Miriam. In other news, Senator Bongbong Marcos denies involvement in the pork barrel scam, saying his signature in endorsement letters is forged. In a statement, Marcos says his office's internal investigation shows his and his staff's signatures were falsified and the documents involved were of dubious origin. Marcos says, quote, "In my 9 years as a legislator, I have steered clear of any controversy. I have always exerted due diligence to ensure that every centavo allotted to my projects is used properly and meaningfully in projects meant for the people." Energy Secretary Carlos Jericho Petilla says the Philippines' energy demand is expected to increase as the country's economy grows. With the Philippines growing 7.5% in the second quarter, Petilla says new power plants may not be able to meet future energy needs. He adds, while all of us pray that we hope the country can sustain its strong growth rate, we at the Department of Energy are worried. It takes up to 4 years to build new power plants. Traditionally, every 1% increase in the country's economic growth rate translates to a 1.5% increase in energy demand. Petilla says the power plants currently being built will be finished in 2 years. He says the worst-case scenario could be rotating blackouts in Luzon during peak hours. Among the solutions being considered is the establishment of an electricity reserve market and gas-fired power plants. U.S. President Barack Obama prepares for an all-out push in winning support for limited U.S. military intervention in Syria. Lawmakers returned Monday to begin debates on the plan, with the Senate vote possibly coming as early as Wednesday. Obama will go on U.S. networks Monday evening before addressing the American people from the Oval Office on Tuesday. In an interview with TV network CBS, Syrian President Bashar al-Assad denies he ordered a chemical attack on his people last month. He also warns Americans not to become militarily involved in Syria, adding it had not been a good experience for them to get involved in the Middle East in wars and conflicts. After talks with Arab League leaders in Paris, U.S. Secretary of State John Kerry says they agreed that Assad's, quote, deplorable use of chemical weapons crosses an international global red line. While a resolution for a military strike is likely to pass the Senate controlled by Obama's Democrats, a Washington Post survey shows some 224 of the 433 members of the Republican-dominated House will vote either no or we're leaning no on military action as of Friday. Let's now look at Rappler's Wrap for today, a list of the 10 most important events around the world you shouldn't miss. At number 5, Australian Prime Minister Kevin Rudd steps down as Labour chief after a heavy defeat to the Conservatives in the September 7 polls. In his concession speech, Rudd says he will not be recontesting the party's leadership and says the Australian people deserve a fresh start. The Australian Broadcasting Corporation called a clear win for the Tony Abbott-led Conservative opposition over Rudd's Labour and national polls. At number 9, Tokyo gets the coveted rights to host the 2020 Olympic Games. Thousands of Japanese celebrate the news with cheers and shouts ringing out as Olympics chief Jack Rogue read the IOC decision. Four-time Olympic swimming champion Kosuke Kitajima tells NHK it is like a dream that Tokyo will host the Olympics. And at number 10, world number 1 Serena Williams gets her 5th US Open title and 2nd in a row by outlasting 2nd-ranked Victoria Azarenka. On Sunday, the 31-year-old American captures her 17th career Grand Slam crown. She is the first top-seeded champion since Justine Henin in 2007 and the first woman to defend the US Open crown since Kim Clijsters in 2010. For the full top 10, visit Rappler.com's The Wrap. The film Sonata captures the poetic eloquence of Negros in a story about a unique friendship and the healing power of art and the countryside. Jitonji reports.
I'm here at Rockwell for the private screening of the film Sonata, an entry in this year's Film Development Council's Sining Pangbansa. Sonata is about an unlikely friendship between a boy named John and a retired opera singer, Regina Cadena. Sherry Hill does not only play the title role of Regina, she also produces the film.
This has been written by Peke and Lori for like 4 years ago, and until FDCP came up with the idea, and Peke immediately instinctively said, this is the time. And boy, it is more than a dream come true. It's like a full circle for me and Peke.
Amo na nga si John.
Co-director Peke Galyaga says that finally making Sonata after all these years with Sherry Hill is a dream come true on many levels.
I've done so many movies, I'm nervous all over again, and it's like I'm gonna pop my cherry for the first time, and well, I think that's what makes life exciting, when you're scared about things, when you're nervous about things, and this project means a lot to me.
Galyaga has worked with Hill several times in the past. He says the big difference in this collaboration lies in the maturity of their artistry, which shows in the film. Galyaga's constant partner in filmmaking since 1985 is co-director Lori Reyes.
And we've done 29 films, I think, together. And why does it last? Because we love working with each other. Pareho kaming collaborator and we enjoy working with each other. We were friends first before we started working.
Ang music ng opera napakaganda. Hindi mo kailangan intindihan ng mga words para maramdaman mo ang sinasabi nila. Kailangan naiintindihan mo dito.
Wango Galyaga, the son of Peke, is also the screenwriter of Sonata. He feels the pressure, but admits the writing process has been a very personal and profound journey back to his roots.
But I have been able to, I feel like, establish myself and put a strong foundation in writing. Everyone really expects me to be at the level of my father, and I just hope that I reach half that.
Richard Gomez also plays a cameo in Sonata and says that there's a whole history behind his friendship with Sherry Hill.
And ito lang yung magagawa ko for her, no? So one day she called me and asked me if I can do a small part in her movies. I said, anytime, just tell me when, I'll be there. And that's what I did.
The breathtaking film is also a tribute to the beauty of Negros Occidental. From the same tandem that brought you Oro Plata Mata, Peke Galyaga and Lori Reyes create another powerful masterpiece of a film with actress-turned-producer Sherry Hill. Sonata opens in all SM cinemas on September 11, 2013.
Nakakabingi talaga pag masyadong tahimik.
bala.
Gitanji, Rappler, Manila.
Every story on Rappler has a mood meter, which gives you 8 emotions to choose from. Click how you feel and your vote comes down to the mood navigator in the middle of our front page, which crowdsources the mood of the day. It also gives you the top 10 stories that got the most clicks. In today's mood navigator, we see this small blue circle. From the woman that got everyone laughing today, Miriam's top 6 pork punchlines, 80% amused, 18% happy. The biggest story making international headlines these days, world divided on Syria, has 44% of readers feeling sad and another 44% feeling afraid. Over the weekend, we continue to follow the running story on the pork barrel scam. Not VIP Napoles meals exceed budget for ordinary inmate has 73% of people feeling angry, 9% annoyed. But of course, the biggest story of the day, the developing crisis in Zamboanga, 6 killed, 24 hurt in Zamboanga clashes, 64% angry, 15% sad. All contributing to the mood of the day. Today, most people are angry. That's Rappler's Newscast for today, Monday, September 9, 2013. Visit Rappler.com and watch your newscast Monday to Friday. Tell us how you feel on our mood meter and help us crowdsource the mood of the day. I'm Ai Makaraig, and as we say at Rappler, tomorrow begins today.